Well, hello my peeps, it's Antoinette here. And I joined this high school Facebook group that sent me down on memory lane to high school. Homestead High School in Mequon, Wisconsin in the 70s. Okay, so we're gonna make what's typically the first thing that you make in home ec class, which are the brownies. Now the funny thing about this recipe is that it's the actual recipe. I remember it, because it was so easy. And it's so very good, but of course we're keto-fying it. In that class, there were 4 people at a table. And it was me and my best friend, Carrie, who you have seen in a video at the lake. And Karen Volkman and Dawn Rezinkowski. Karen and Dawn were like really close. Dawn is the only one that I'm still not in touch with. Yeah, so here's my friend Carrie over here. This is 2014, but that's Carrie, and this is Karen. Karen is also my sister's sister-in-law. Yeah, so anyway, this is Jane, my friend Jane here. You've seen her in a video as well at the lake. And I met Jane when I was 8 years old when she found my dog. So we've been friends a very long time. And Carrie's been my best friend since I was 12 years old. Yeah, so anyway, I have my tie-dye shirt on, my blue eyeshadow, and my lip gloss. So we're going back to the 70s. Come reminisce with me, home ec class, 4th hour. I even remember that. We're here at the stove. I got the double boiler going, so that's nice and hot. I'm gonna lower it now a bit. Okay, I gotta get this butter in. A whole stick of butter. And I'm using salted because salt goes great with chocolate. 1 stick of butter is in. I have the Ghirardelli 70% cacao. Now you could use whatever you want depending on if you're making this keto or not. But I'm going with this. This is extra bittersweet chocolate. The butter is already melting because I have it soft. It's been sitting there since last night. I set this all up because right now I'm actually on my lunch hour. So, but this is pretty quick and easy. All right, let's get the chocolate in there. This only takes like a minute or 2 to melt. It's melting really fast. Now I'm gonna run out to the garage and grab my 1969 Sunbeam Mixmaster. I'll be back and I'll show you the chocolate. So here's my chocolate. And it has to cool off a bit to lukewarm. So I'll set that aside. Look what I found. I have to show you this. I found, it was at a estate sale where I found the manual that goes with my Mixmaster. I was so excited. And there's a whole bunch of vintage recipes in here that I fully intend to try. So, but I was so happy. It was $1. All right, let's do the next step. So for the flour, what I've done is you have to sift first. In the 70s, you sifted everything. Nowadays, not so much. It comes pre-sifted, but I still, well, this doesn't come pre-sifted, and that's why I always sift anyway. But I need a total of a 1 1/4 cup of either all-purpose flour, or the keto way, I'm using 1/4 cup of miracle flour, the lupin flour here. And then I have the coconut flour. I'm using 1 tablespoon because that equals a 1/4 cup. So now I'm at a 1/2 cup. And then I have 3/4 cup of carbulose flour here. And you know, in home ec, there was no eyeballing anything in home ec. I took care of the flours, so all right, let's get started with my big bowl. All right. Oh, I need another stick of butter, soft. All right, I got the soft butter, and pour that in my bowl. Now, I remember that we used 3 eggs, but I'm using 4 because, you know, in a coconut flour recipe, you know, it just sucks all the moisture out. I mean, they say that if you were going to do this in all coconut flour, that you want to double the eggs. But I'm just adding 1 extra because I'm adding the tablespoon of coconut flour equivalent to a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to put in the 4 eggs. Okay, so far 1 stick of butter and 4 eggs in. Then you're going to add 2 cups of sugar. This is measured exactly as well, and I'm using the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. 2 cups. All right, then we're going to cream this. Now, one thing I remember in home ec, I wish I could remember the teacher's name, and I feel bad that I don't remember her name because honestly, I learned so much from her that I remember. I think the reason I remember this recipe is because I knew how to make so few things. And I got married very young, 19, and yeah, I had my daughter very young, so that's why I got married. She said, which is a nice little tip, and that I never forgot, was that the problem with creaming eggs, butter, and sugar is that people don't do it long enough. She said, cream it for 10 minutes. That's right, 10 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, that looks good and mixed to me. All right, now I'm going to pour in the chocolate mixture and just dump it all in. My vanilla. I want to put in a teaspoon of some good vanilla. Oops, I'm not supposed to measure it over the bowl. I forgot. I was supposed to measure it over here. Yes, okay. Now, there's no leavening in this because the eggs act as leavening in brownies. That's why you never see baking powder in brownie recipes. Okay. Yeah, with the KitchenAid you don't have to scrape the sides. I know. This is the 70s. And you know, I honestly don't remember what kind of mixers we used. I'm sure we had hand mixers, I imagine. I'm sure we didn't have a stand-up like this. That's one thing I don't remember. I also remember that there was only one guy in the class. Yeah, he just wanted to be with the girls, so. Yeah, it worked for him. It really did. The girls were real nice to him. So, okay. We're gonna move on to the flowers. But not quite yet, because I have to go back to work. So I'm glad that I got at least this far. Now I'm going to take the rest of this chocolate because I wanted to get the chocolate incorporated. So I only have a few hours left. So then at that time I will be back and we will talk about the flowers and finish making the brownies. Okay, so I am done with work. And so I had just covered up this brownie mixture while I was working. Yeah, I didn't want to put it in the fridge because I don't want to harden that butter. So I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what my my chocolate brownie mixture looks like. I just gave it a quick stir after it was sitting here for a couple of hours. So now we are going to move on to the flowers. So what I'm going to do is put my bowl back on the stand. All right, so first here I have the pre-sifted and then measured miracle flour, the lupin flour. So I have 1/4 cup of that. And I'm just going to pour that in. This is the first time that I'm using this miracle flour, lupin flour. So I'm hoping that I like it. I have found that you can only use lupin flour like at 25% of the total flour count. Because otherwise to me it just tastes too bitter. So that's what I've done here. 1/4 cup of lupin. Then next we have the coconut flour. I just use the Pillsbury's Best, which I find at the store. And I need the 1 tablespoon. And it looks like I did the right thing by adding an extra egg. This is the only flour that I didn't sift because it's very fine anyway. But I am going to do it right by my teacher because you have to level it off. So, all right, I'm gonna level it off with this Merck's cheese knife so that it's measured exactly 1 tablespoon. Now, so far, I'm thinking about the grade that I would get. I would get dinged here for having this cord. This is dangerous, so I'm sure I would get dinged for that. And then plus the vanilla that I poured over the bowl. All right, so I'm gonna try to do it right from here on out. Okay, so that's 2 of the 3 flours. Then I have, this flour here is my carbulose flour, which I store in this canister because it comes in a regular silver generic bag with no label, pretty much. And so this, of course, I pre-sifted and, well, now it needs a little air in it, but these are exact measurements. So I'm not going to pour all of it in. I'm going to leave a little bit after I mix this. But I am going to add the 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So, oh boy, it doesn't fit in there. Okay. I'll go ahead and level this off as well. Okay. Sprinkle that in. Now I'm going to add my beaters back into the bowl. Or into the sunbeam. Alright, we're going to mix this. Okay, I'm gonna add the rest of the flour. That is it. Let's taste it. Now at this point, it's a little granular to me. And I found this with keto baking items that sometimes you're better off using the powdered sugar, but we will find out, and we're not going to know until we bake it. Okay, let's mix the rest of this up gently. Just for a minute. Okay, that's enough. That wasn't even a minute. I mean, just a little bit. I'd rather do this by hand, actually, because I don't want it highly mixed. Just gently mixed. Okay, I'm going to take the beaters off. Let's see. Oh yeah, they come right out. Oop. Don't want to miss anything here. Let's get this all off the beaters. All right. I don't remember who got to lick the beaters in class. I guess who was ever doing the mixing. I have a half a cup of these Fisher chopped up walnut halves and pieces. You could also use pecans. Now, I don't think that we use this in home ec. I don't think that they bared the expense of walnuts. All right, so I only have a half a cup, but if you are a person, I mean, this is to taste how much nuts you want, or if you don't want any nuts at all. I don't like too many nuts, so I'm not going to put in a whole cup. I got half cup, and I may not even use all of that, because this is kind of thick now. Let's see. And mix these in. We'll see if we need the whole half a cup. Yeah, I think this can take the half a cup. I can't imagine putting in a full cup though. I may rethink the size of the pan. Now in home ec, they used a big old, I think 10 by 13 pan. But they had to feed the whole class. So, you know, they wanted to spread out, but I want mine higher. So, all right, I'm gonna set this aside. Yeah, this is good. I chose my Pioneer Woman. This is a 8, I think it's 8 by 11 or 12. And I'm going to grease the pan. Now, in home ec, you of course used a Crisco shortening in the 70s, but we're going to use lard. So I have seen over the decades on brownies that people make, you know, they bring it to, you know, parties and such. And, you know, you will see like flour on the brownies. Yeah. I think that people have forgotten the right way to do it. So, okay, I have this lard. All right, it's pretty well greased. Just a little more. I don't want them to stick. But the way that my teacher taught me, or taught us, the whole class, was that you take cocoa. So my pan looks like this. It's cocoa covered rather than flour covered. And you know, we don't want to add more flour. We just keep jigging it around. And then tap it down. Okay, I shook it off. All right, let's add the brownies. The oven over there is preheating to 350, and we're gonna bake this for about 40 minutes. A lot of recipes say 45, but that's really over baking it. And so you gotta watch it really super close. Do not overbake the brownies. Now we're gonna pour the brownies into the pan. This is the fun part. Looks really good, doesn't it? Yeah, I think this is the right size of pan to use. Alright, gonna spread it around. Okay, I have it all in there. I'm going to get my cake spreader to spread this around all pretty. And we're gonna spread it out nice and even. I haven't made this in so long. So in my early married life, this was one recipe that I knew how to make. And I mean, the only other thing that I would make, I was very, very limited. I would make these brownies, hamburger helper, macaroni and cheese, of course all carbs and sugar. Let's see, the Jiffy boxes of stuff, all packaged goods, you know, of course. So it was the 70s where the diet wreaked havoc when they came out with all the packaged food. Because like in the 50s, that's when everything was made with the proper ingredients. Well, they were made out of whole foods and not processed, or not processed very much. So, all right, I'm gonna just jig it this way. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and when the oven is preheated, looks shortly. We're almost there. We'll put them in the oven. There we go. We are preheated and ready to bake. Here's my beautiful brownies. They look great. I'm probably gonna just kind of wipe down the edges a bit and then pop it into the oven. The brownies have been in the oven for only about 10 minutes, but I did clean up my whole mess. It's over there in the sink. I'll take care of that later. But I also do remember in home ec that was part of your grade, how well you cleaned up and how you participated in the cleanup. I remember that. I remember so much, it's crazy. Okay, 3 ingredient buttercream frosting. All right, it's so easy. We're gonna put in 2 sticks of butter, salted, into the smaller bowl. 2 sticks in. Next, we have 1/2 a cup of cocoa. So I have that same cocoa that I used to sprinkle the pan with. I will link all this down, all my flours and my cocoa and sugar and stuff. Ooh, a little too fast. Okay, and then we have just fork sifted 2/3 cup of powdered sugar. The Lakanto monk fruit powdered sugar here. That's it. Now the kicker is, we're gonna whip this for 10 to 15 minutes. That's right. All right, got my little bowl going on here. going to start slow. I don't want to make too much of a mess. I will definitely have to clean my floor tonight. Just saying. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Just gonna lift it a little bit, help it out, get off the beaters. We might need to add a little cream. I haven't made this in the Sunbeam before. I'll be playing with this for a while. Okay, we will see you when the brownies come out of the oven. The brownies are out of the oven, and this took 45 minutes. I think because of the smaller pan that I used, so the brownies are higher. And there's my beautiful chocolate buttercream frosting. But notice my one little toothpick hole right here, because that's another thing I learned in home ec. Never stab your brownies with a fork. I'll never forget that. Especially if you're just going to sprinkle powdered sugar on top. But I will also say, if you're going to use the Lakanto powdered sugar, then you don't want to put it on top because it kind of just melts right in. You want to put that on after you slice your brownie. It doesn't act like regular powdered sugar. So never just sprinkle the whole top of your brownies with powdered sugar. That's an excellent piece of advice I have for you. This has to cool off, and I'll be back when it's time to put the frosting on. The brownies are frosted. I can't tell you how amazing it smells in here. But yeah, it was the perfect amount of frosting that I made. Okay, we are going to plate it up and try a bite. Here's my brownie. I just give it a 360 turn. You can see some walnuts in there. Not too many, at least not for me. Let's taste it. You really don't need a fork. Maybe I should pick it up with my fingers. The Lakanto sweetener, since this is the first time that I ketoed it up, I don't think that you need quite as much sugar, and I probably would next time substitute totally with the powdered sugar rather than the granular. I've experienced this before. It's wonderful. It's absolutely delicious, but I think that the improvement could be made with using the powdered Lakanto sweetener instead of the granular. It's Friday night, and I've thought about these brownies all day while I was working, because this was not quite right, and I think I know what the problem is. You know, with baking ketofied, you have to use the coconut flour. The solution to making chewy brownies, because look, these are not chewy like high school. To make the chewy brownies, swap out the flour for 5 tablespoons of coconut flour. That's it. And double the eggs, so that's 6 eggs. And the sugar, absolutely 2 cups powdered sweetener. And that will fix this. I will put my proposed recipe in the description box, because I know where the problems lie with these brownies. So, thanks for stopping by for another video, and we will see you next time, which will be very, very soon.